That's music from Robert Earl Keen, and The Road Goes On Forever. What a story that tells. It's 93.5 FM, WMWV, and you're listening to Great Acoustics. It is the last night ever of Great Acoustics, and because of that, I'm trying to do something special and just kind of have a little party here. And Bill Morrissey is in the studio with me already, and we'll have some other folks dropping by. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Annie. How you doing?
I am fine. Let's see. I'm going to make this a little bit louder, make sure everybody can hear you. We're just talking about Robert Earl Keen. Is it true that his wife, Robert Earl Keen's wife, is a big fan of yours?
That's what, yeah, Kathleen is. Yeah, she's, evidently Robert got so sick of standing 8 because she wouldn't take it out of the car. So he won't speak to me anymore.
Bummer. He's going to be playing in Portland, right? Or no, where?
Yeah.
Maine?
I think it is Portland, or Lewiston.
Lewiston.
Lucky Clark was telling me that, and unfortunately it's the same night I'm working somewhere.
So you got your guitar with you. You don't have to do a songwrite just yet. I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about another musician too, but do you want to do a song now?
No, we can talk.
Okay. All right, so you travel around a lot, and you get to see a lot of musicians play too, sometimes, especially openers, people that open for you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were in Canada last year, you met David Francey for the first time.
Yes, I did. He opened for me at a club outside Ottawa, and I didn't know who he was at all, but he seemed like a nice guy during sound check and all that. And I always go down to check the opening act for at least a song or two, just to be polite, and I'm curious. And I went down to listen to him, and I stood in the doorway and listened and listened and listened, and suddenly it's 40 minutes later, and I realized, oh my God, I haven't even tuned up. You know, I've got to go on in 2 minutes.
So you listened to him play his whole set.
Oh yeah, I just, time just went by. I didn't want to leave.
He was just that good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just totally knocked out by his writing and his singing. You know, and he's got great stage presence, and he's a nice guy. You know, and he got into the music a little later than most. He'd been writing all this time, but to do it professionally, he's just. I guess his second album, is it out?
Yeah, it's out. In fact, I'm going to play one from it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, he just came out. He's got, he came here May, right? And he opened for you at the Barnstormers.
Oh, yeah.
And he also, we lined up a few gigs for him. Harvey Reid, the great guitarist from the Seacoast area, also fell in love with David Francey. I had played his CD one night when Harvey was playing and said, Harvey was like, who is this? And he booked him for the Seacoast guitar.
He tends to elicit that response.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, I just hope he gets down here more often. I know one story about him is the summer before I worked with him. You know, he got on stage at one of the major Canadian festivals. It could have been Vancouver or Winnipeg, as just an in-between act, you know, while they're setting up the drums and stuff for the band. And I think he did a 10-minute set, you know, just with all this commotion behind him. And that night he outsold all the headliners.
In CDs?
In CDs, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So he
that's great.
He's not an acquired taste. You just
get
him right off.
I know. I'll tell a little story because when you saw him in Canada, you picked up a couple of his CDs and you gave one to me to play on the radio.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it.
And I did. After hearing the third song, his phone number, I don't think his phone number is on this one, but on his first CD, his email and phone number were right on the back. I called him at home in Canada and said, you have got to come down here and play. And he did. And he's going to be coming back in April. So I'm going to play one from this David Francey CD. I'm not sure if you've heard it yet, Bill, but it's called Far End of Summer, David Francey. And this is a true story. He told it when he was performing here. The song is called Green Fields, and it's about a man whose wife leaves him, and he never thinks he'll find love again. And it turns out that the letter carrier is a woman. And there's a dance in town, and his friends were ribbing him. You know, you got to ask somebody to the dance. You got to ask somebody to the dance. And he thought, well, maybe I'll ask the letter carrier. And so he stood at his mailbox waiting for her to pull up. She pulled up, and he said, do you want to go to the dance with me? And she said, yep. Gave him his mail and drove off. And, the short story is they lived happily ever after. So anyway, that one's called Green Fields. And it's a wonderful story, and I'm going to play that now. So we're talking with Bill Morrissey. You're listening to Great Acoustics. My name's Annie, and here's one from David Francey. This one's called Far End of Summer. That's the CD, and the song is called Green Fields.
In Peterborough County, there's a village in a valley. We have a farm at the top of the hill. You can have your city streets and your backyards and your alleys. We have these green fields and I always will. And I married out of high school to a girl I knew forever. And we settled in together and 3 children came. And the life that we were living was forgive and be forgiven. But whenever I saw sunshine, she could only see rain. Left me standing in the cornfields with the dry land all around me. And I felt myself sinking like the setting sun. And the sky was like the ocean pouring down around me. I used to be so proud, and I was all undone. So I kept on working my land, and I held on with both hands. And I watched the seasons turning in the sky above. And I worked beside my father, and we bent our backs together. And I wondered, would I ever find someone to love? But when I was good and ready, when I stood up strong and steady, love came with the letters in the morning mail. And I knew that I'd found her when I put my arms around her. When I see her now in the morning, how that sunrise pales, leaves me standing in the cornfield with the dry land all around me. And I feel myself rising like the morning sun. And the sky is like the ocean, white and blue and rolling. And I know that in my own heart she's the only one. In Peterborough County, there's a village in a valley. We have a farm at the top of the hill. You can have your city streets and your backyards and your alleys. We have these green fields and all